Welcome to RMTC-DHH's series on the high leverage practices for students with disabilities. In this video, we will be discussing the 8th high leverage practice from the CEC and CEEDAR Center's publication, High Leverage Practices in Special Education. The 8th high leverage practice states, provide positive and constructive feedback to guide students' learning and behavior. Of all the 22 HLPs, this particular practice shows up twice as HLP8 and HLP22. Two different research syntheses were conducted on this practice, putting it in both the social, emotional, behavioral domain and the instructional domain. For this video, we will be focusing on the behavioral aspect of this HLP. Before we dive into the information, let's define some terms so we're all on the same page. Extrinsic motivation, intrinsic motivation, positive reinforcement, and behavior-specific praise. Extrinsic motivation is when the student is motivated to perform an activity or task to earn an external reward, like being able to play video games for getting a good grade on a paper. Intrinsic motivation is when the student is motivated to perform an activity or task for its own sake or for own personal reward, like wanting to earn an A on a paper. Knowing that most students are not intrinsically motivated by writing reports or completing math problems, the goal is to start with extrinsic motivators and lead to intrinsic through modeling and growing the student's sense of autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Positive reinforcement is anything that occurs after a behavior that increases the likelihood of that behavior again. These reinforcers can be as simple as a thumbs up, or a verbal or signed praise, or can come in the form of using a classroom token system. Behavior-specific praise is an evidence-based classroom management strategy. Behavior-specific praise is specific and positive, and indicates an approval of social or academic behavior. For example, Johnny, thank you for waiting patiently with your hand raised. A non-example of this would be, good job, Johnny. How much behavior-specific praise should the teacher be providing? I'm so glad you asked. Research has shown that for every one corrective statement a teacher makes, educators should look for at least 4 opportunities to acknowledge appropriate behavior. Research also recommends to use 6 praise statements every 15 minutes. HLP8 must be embedded in every behavioral and instructional high leverage practice. The Florida Positive Behavioral Interventions and Supports Project, or PBIS, has a beautiful graphic on the 7 steps in the instructional cycle to build any skill, including behavioral or social or emotional skills. First, we define the skill to teach. Next, model and demonstrate the skill. Then, provide examples and non-examples. Next, practice the skill in the natural setting. Then, provide reinforcement and corrective feedback. Next, monitor data, adjust instruction, and reteach. And lastly, differentiate instruction based on student need. It's important to note that reinforcement and corrective feedback is a vital part in this cycle. After all, just like academic skill mastery, if teachers want students to build behavioral skill mastery, they must provide specific contingent feedback. In order to build behavior skill mastery, feedback should be timely, meaning immediately following an observed target behavior, contingent, meaning only given when the target behavior is observed. Think if-then. If you see the appropriate behavior, then praise. Genuine, meaning with a sincere tone without sarcasm or joking. Meaningful, meaning it is specific but succinct. Age appropriate, meaning the feedback is not too lofty to where the student won't understand, or too low to where they feel patronized. And accessible, meaning communicated in a way that the student who is DHH will understand. This idea of building social skill mastery is why it's important for teachers of the deaf and hard of hearing to push into the classroom periodically, to ensure skills taught in isolation are being implemented in academic setting. It also allows for specific feedback to be provided in real time. This is also why the collaboration between the general education teacher and the teacher of the deaf and hard of hearing is so crucial, which is the first high leverage practice. Constant conversations about the student's individual progress and what each other are noticing, as well as sharing of data, is necessary for student success. We will leave you with this point to ponder. How do you collaborate with team members to ensure positive and constructive feedback is occurring in an accessible manner? Come to the TA Live discussion to learn how your colleagues address this question, and share your thoughts to collaborate together. Remember to check out additional resources in the Live Binder. You can access the Live Binder on the RMTC-DHH TA Live website, or by going to the bit.ly/RMTC-HLP. Can't make it to the discussion session? Or perhaps you're watching a recording of this at a later time. An idea to still work within your district is to visit the Iris Center HLP Interactive Alignment Tool. This tool identifies which Iris resource provides information on each specific HLP. Where can you find the information for the Iris Center? If you guessed the Live Binder, you are right. Remember, you can find that at bit.ly/RMTC-HLP. To watch more videos about the HLPs, make sure you check out the TA Live archive in our video library. Until next time, we'll see you around. This presentation was funded by the Florida Department of Education, Bureau of Exceptional Education and Student Services through federal assistance under the Individuals with Disabilities Act, Part B funds. The information included does not reflect any specific endorsement by any parties involved.